discussions with the legal team yesterday, and all of us were shocked when we came to court and the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation previous, Kanu announced to the court that himself and the legal team, especially those of the Inner Temple, are withdrawing. And the judge also was shocked and asked Nnamdi about it, and he concurred that for now that he would take charge of his defense. Doesn't mean that if tomorrow an opportunity arises that lawyers will not also be part of it. So, but for today, probably tomorrow, he would take charge of his defense. So that's what happened in court. And
were you surprised?
I was pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly or shocked?
Well, surprised and shocked at the same time. In terms that none of us knew about it. I came to court, just like I've always done, attend the court hearings and all the stuff, and I sat there listening. I kept making the contributions. It's just between Nnamdi, the prosecution team and the defense team, and the judge. So as of today, the lawyers have virtually stood down. Whether they have given Nnamdi his case files, I do not know. But when you go to section 36(6)(b) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which are actually a crucial provision towards fair hearing, specifically to persons who are charged with criminal or capital offenses, is the constitutional right of Mr. Kanu to decide to take over the defense of his own case. It is also his constitutional right that adequate time and facilities be provided for him to ensure that to ensure that he has adequate defense.
Yeah, but I don't think the issue is whether or not I mean, I think everybody knows he's got constitutional that right, which is why the judge allowed it. But the question is, what's the thinking behind it? I mean, you know things aren't going well when you fire the people who are supposed to protect and represent you in a trial, don't you? I mean, did it appear to you to be an act of sort of visceral rage, impulsive, chaotic purge that wasn't well thought out? Or do you think he thought it out?
If you look at the statements made by the learned Sheikh Agabi Kanu, he said after the meeting they had yesterday that the information was told them that they were going to be debriefed and that they respect the rights of Nnamdi.
No, I understand that, but I'm
so
trying
if there was anything that
get
happened,
to the backstory.
No, that's what I'm saying. But if there was anything that happened, otherwise, at that meeting, I was not in that meeting. I only showed up.
But I mean, you would have heard things. I mean, you talked to him.
No, really.
You guys normally hug each other at the end of the trial.
We sat
at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we sat close. But
did he whisper anything into your ear?
No, but at the end of the day, he was actually, he was actually led through the judge's chambers to be evacuated back from the Federal High Court to the detention center. So we didn't have enough time to discuss in court, to say, because he's often brought to court 10 minutes to 9, and the judge comes out exactly about 9 dot. So there wasn't that much of a time beyond the camaraderie.
And we didn't hear from, I mean, we obviously saw the statement. I was actually hoping that we would hear that clip from the lawyers, because they made a public statement, which has been run on a rise several times today. But I mean, is there anything beyond that public statement that that might have said perhaps in out of camera to you?
No, nothing yet. I've yet to be informed otherwise. But I know that tomorrow he may be meeting with some of the current legal team that were debriefed. Maybe possible some additional members of the legal team to go forward, at least to have some people who will surround him and be giving him legal advice where necessary, and the authorities that he will need to proceed with the defense of his case.
Right.
But what we are saying, crucially, Charles, is that Section 36(6)(b) is essential that it appears that the government is rushing his defense by giving him 5 days. He's already made known to the court, and the court has given summons to 23 witnesses. He will need to spend time to discuss with those witnesses, and where those witnesses are not compliant, to ensure that the court compels them to, through subpoena, to come and testify in court as to their knowledge of events from the time he was arrested to the time he was extraordinarily renditioned, and from the time the trials also began 5-6 years ago. So if you're going to rush, the prosecution has had more than 10 years to prepare for this matter. They have arraigned him on several charges, withdrew several charges, and rearraigned him. They've had adequate time to present their case, and they have rested their case. The defense also requires adequate time to be able to present their case. You cannot say in a capital offense, a criminal trial that has so many significance, not just for jurisprudence, but the social and security dynamics in Nigeria, that Nnamdi is expected that is within 5 days to be able to put a defense. If you're going to railroad him, just like the court in their determination, court says he does not verily believe that access to lawyers at the DSS facilities may be videoed, may be eavesdropped. So he agreed for 3 hours. That was yesterday's meeting, for himself and his lawyers to meet at the judges at the court 7 specifically. But if you go to court 7, there are video cameras, opportunities to also eavesdrop. I'm not saying that his lordship was in his chamber, but what if he was in chamber? Who else was in chamber with him to eavesdrop on the discussions between Mazen Nnamdi and his lawyers?
Well, they would argue that it's getting all rather paranoid now.
No, it's not. No, if you agreed that because of electronic cameras and audio equipment and all the stuff in DSS would not be adequate for him to have concrete discussions with his lawyers in the defense of his case, and you're moving him from DSS to his court. But the court itself is also...
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the judge has more confidence in the court than the DSS facility.
Well, he's not...
So that's...
No, he moved the matter from the DSS facility to the court.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hoping that the court will be an adequate place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He obviously has more confidence
absolutely,
in the
but then the same court has the same issues as it would be at the DSS. The court is also wired electronically.
Yeah, but maybe the judge, because he's a judge in that court. I mean, I'm just speculating. Has more control and more access to that kind of material.
So what if the judge was eavesdropping on his conversations with his lawyers? Would that not also affect? Would that not also affect the way and manner, the perception that he sees with the
well, I mean, that's purely
and
speculative.
Would also lead to bias?
Yeah, that's speculative. But let's move away from that. Usually the decision by someone to fire his lawyers and represent himself tends to be a tactical move. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes used by defendants hoping to challenge the system. I mentioned that at the outset, and potentially gain an acquittal. They believe that by representing themselves, they can control the narrative and create reasonable doubt. But that strategy has also been known to backfire. I give you one example, and it's probably an extreme example, and I don't mean to kind of link it to Nnamdi, but if you remember the mass murderer in America called Ted Bundy, who was eventually executed. I mean, he got in, his lawyers were trying to arrange a plea bargain for him to get 75 years in jail, in other words, life imprisonment, and he got angry and fired all of them and said he was going to represent himself. And he ended up being found guilty, condemned to death, and executed because he did it himself. Whereas the lawyers had already made a plea bargain arrangement which would have kept him alive.
Well, let me tell you something, though. I don't know Ted Bundy, but I
I don't know him either.
But I know Nnamdi. If you were in court today listening to Nnamdi Kanu, you will come up with the the absolute impression that this is a very cerebral man. He understands the law. He also understands the challenges that are facing him.
So you think he got a better shot representing himself than the people who have represented him for quite some time? Senior advocates of Nigeria.
He made a decision.
Yeah.
He made a decision with the lawyers yesterday, which included the senior advocates of Nigeria. I'm sure they gave him proper legal advice, and I'm sure that he listened to all their suggestions to him, their briefings to him, and he chose otherwise. Like Kanu Agabi said today, that after the meeting, they came to court today to honor the court and as well to honor Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's request that they be debriefed and that they respect his opinions.
Right.
And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in court says that for now, he used the word for now, I am standing alone to defend myself. Doesn't mean that tomorrow that you will not see new sets of lawyers, which may include the current lawyers that have been debriefed. Right. But the most important thing for Nnamdi Kanu and everybody who is supportive of him is to ensure that everything that is going to be done goes towards fair hearing, and that every opportunity is given to him as stated in the Constitution.
Right. The point is that he's not asking the court to give him time to choose a new set of lawyers.
No, he has asked,
he's saying that he's going to represent himself.
No, he doesn't need to ask the court.
Right.
Even if he brings a new lawyer into the matter that's completely different from the existing lawyers, the lawyers will come under Section 36(6)(b).
They still need time.
They still need time.
Yeah, to familiarize
themselves with the case. And the evidences that have been put forth by the prosecutor, even if Nnamdi Kanu is taking over his matter, he still needs time to go through his trial files, know the evidences that have been put forth, also be aware of the 23 witnesses that he's already given to the court, and the court has issued summons for all the 23 witnesses and are compelling them to come and testify. So there's got to be adequate time. Right. You don't expect that within the 6 days already given, 1 day is gone, that he has 5 days to prepare his defense. Right. That's why I was saying that if anything goes contrary to Section 36(6)(b), then he definitely is going to lead and make the trial to be a nullity. Okay. So he has to be given adequate time to look at his case file, to first of all find out whether Agabi and the other team have given him his case file. He can't study everything tonight, so he needs adequate time, and then the facilities to be able to ensure that he prepares himself very well.
Right, we'll watch and see how that develops. Meanwhile, of course, one of his lawyers, Aloy Ejimako, who stuck out his neck by becoming a bit more activist and taking part in the Free Nnamdi Kanu protests on Monday, is under arrest and is being charged with various offenses. What's the story there? I understand you've been to see him in detention.
I went there today. I went there 2 days ago and today to visit with him and the other co-accused, Kuje Prison, to visit with them, and hopefully tomorrow. The matter was adjourned by the magistrate court till Friday, which is tomorrow, of which we hope the offenses being charged are bailable offenses, and that the judge will adequately grant bail to allow them, especially Ejimako, who is the engine house or the secretariat of the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu legal team, to arrest him the way they did and to detain him the way. He's also, you can say a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I mean,
are saying that, he was done deliberately.
Yeah, but
to ensure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is devoid of Ejimako's services.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, because Bayo Onanuga, the special advisor on information and strategy to the president, has called for disciplinary action against Mr. Ejimako for what he called professional misconduct.
What professional misconduct?
Well,
Ejimako is a lawyer by profession.
Right.
He's a Nigerian citizen by profession, entitled to the provisions and to the protection of Section 40 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that says that he has a right to peaceful assembly and association. So why is it different because he's a Jimako. And then he is no longer entitled to that because he's a lawyer. What about the doctors that came for the protest? What about students that came and many other people that came?
Well, yes,
Are they not
you do
entitled
have
to
a
the same
point
protection there?
All right, let's now listen to Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer why they were relieved of their duties. Hear what they said.
Thank you very much, and good day to all lovers of freedom. My name is Nnamdi. I am one of the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu. Today being the 23rd of October 2025, Nnamdi Kanu opted to defend himself in open court. Processes had been filed and motions had been moved. So he filed motion challenging the jurisdiction of the court. And after the motion was moved by himself, according to what we heard, because when he asked that he would defend himself, the judge directed or ordered that all his lawyers who had appeared with him or for him before now should leave the courtroom. So we all left, except the senior advocates of Nigeria, who my lord ordered to sit back, and they sat back. So, but we left as directed by court, and Nnamdi Kanu, as we later heard, moved the motion, which he filed by himself, challenging the jurisdiction of the court. I understand that the court insisted that he has jurisdiction and continued to hear the matter. We also were informed that he raised the issue of his medical certificate of fitness issued by the Nigerian Medical Association. And he drew the attention of the court to the fact that the Nigerian Medical Association issued a certificate of fitness on the 23rd of September 2025, whereas the court made an order for the Nigerian Medical Association to do that report on the 26th. So we noticed that the medical report came long before the order of court was made. And Nnamdi Kanu's position is that that medical report is not the one ordered by the court, and that the medical report is corrupted. But because on the last date before today, when we appeared in court and that medical report was tendered, the lawyers, we didn't object to that medical report. Possibly it's an oversight, I think. And so my lord said that since he had ruled on that medical report, he is found official, he can no longer go back to that medical report, and ordered him to go ahead to present his defense. We understand also that Dr. Nyechi Bazo stood up and intervened as a friend of court and requested my lord to grant Mazi some time to reflect and maybe constitute another team of lawyers that will lead his defense team. So be that as it may, the case is still on. It's adjourned to tomorrow, 24th October 2025. Hopefully we'll be around. If the court permits us to come inside, we'll come inside, but if not, then we'll just hang around and try to get information as to what transpired. So as of today, Nnamdi Kanu has briefed us as his lawyers for this particular case, not for all cases, but for this particular case. So hopefully by tomorrow, he might have to reconstitute another team.
All right, so you see what really happened here. If you listen to this lawyer very well, you hear, I perceive that there has been too many oversights. How can there be an oversight from a team of lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu regarding his health issues, his health conditions? How can you have such an oversight? That is very, very unprofessional for a team of lawyers. You know, somebody said something on the comment sections that it's now looking as if these lawyers have been politicized. You know, as if they are playing politics with Nnamdi Kanu. So you see, there could be too many reasons to why Nnamdi Kanu decided to do his thing by himself. How can there be such an oversight? That is laxity on the part of the lawyer. And now the case has been ruled against Nnamdi Kanu. You see, we are pleading that he should have a time for a medical checkup. and such an issues came up, why would you have such an oversight? From the body reaction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, it seems that there's been a lot of oversight. That these guys are, of course, Nnamdi Kanu is very, very learned. You know that he can defend himself. He can speak for himself. He's educated. He knows the law. He's not somebody that can be easily intimidated. He's not somebody that does not know what is left from his right. So I feel that he has left this thing to the hands of these lawyers for a very long time. And then perhaps there's been too many oversights. If you are following the interviews that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer have been granting, of course you relate, you see it that there are too many oversights. They just come out like this, and then you hear that something happened and it was an oversight, but the next other sitting that the judge said they are going to do this, they are going to do that. So the man opted to defend himself by himself. Well, I just pray that God will make it easier for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and you should be able to find a competent lawyer, because I wouldn't want him to make a mistake while in the process of defending himself that will land him or lead him to life imprisonment or something like that, because this is a very, very huge case. It's a criminal case. So such a case like this need a serious attention and need to be followed diligently. So I think people should advise him also, and then let's get him some new set of lawyers. If maybe you would have to work with the older ones too, maybe you should just pick one or two from them. But such an oversight, it's a laxity on the team of lawyers for having such. To me, it is not supposed to be it's not an oversight. It looks more looking more like a deliberate attempt, for a team of lawyers, team of professionals, senior advocates among them, and yet we're having this kind of oversight. So let them go and rest. Again, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to me, I would suggest he get another team of lawyers from a different tribe, or let him mix his lawyers. Let it be a mixed tribal lawyers, kind of. It shouldn't be one set of lawyers. I think this is my submissions.